All right, so tell us about your unique perspective on this, as for example, the mom of a student who goes off
Who goes
island.
off island. Yeah, the Vashon schools are great, but my daughter got into a program that was a perfect fit for her, so we wanted to figure out how to get her where she needs to go. Her situation is complicated too by the fact that she's an athlete, and her school that she goes to doesn't have sports teams, so she was given the option to play for her home district on Vashon. So she would normally have an elective last period, but she trades it in for state PE credits and uses the time to travel back to the island. So when we were working out all these logistics, when we were trying to decide if we were going to go ahead and send her there, we realized that it was doable. She would leave school at 2:30, get here at about 10 minutes till 3, and then hopefully be on the 3:05 boat. And back when we had 3 boats servicing these 2 routes, if you showed up at 10 till 3 in the afternoon, there was a pretty good chance you could get on the 3:05. But these days, because we have 1 fewer boat, there's traffic stacked up from the previous boat that didn't get on. So she'll rush over here, get in line, and then invariably we'll miss that boat by just a handful of cars. And then back when we had 3 boats, if that happened, that was okay because the next boat would get her to practice about an hour late, but at least she'd make half of it. But now the next boat that she makes is 3:50, but it goes via Southworth, so it kills 2 hours of her day. So she basically, if she doesn't make the 3:05 boat, then her whole plan is dashed. So what we've done as a family to fix the problem is, because I'm self-employed and I'm able to accommodate her schedule, I 3 days a week walk on the 140 boat, come over here, kill an hour till about 3 o'clock when she gets to the dock. She hands me her car, she walks on the boat, picks up my car on the other side, and goes to Vashon High School for practice. I take her car, instead of putting it in line, if I were to put it in line, I would be on that Southworth bound boat. So now I do a 30-minute errand and then get in line after that boat has gone so that I can then catch the next direct boat to Vashon. And I get home, I leave the house at 1:15 and I get home at 5:15. So that's, 4 hours of my day just to help my daughter get where she needs to go. And it didn't used to be that way. We've basically been waiting for things to get back to normal ever since the pandemic. And we thought we'd get our 3rd boat back and things would be, there'd be enough boats to move all the cars that are trying to get off this dock. But with the aging fleet and the fact that there are boats that are just not coming back, in addition to the staffing issues, it just means that when things are working the way they're supposed to, she might be able to get where she needs to go. But so often we have staffing issues or boats are late, and so it's just turned it into this situation where she needs support instead of the stress. So that's her commute, but what's one thing that I'll also say about the South End boat that goes to Tacoma, because my daughter has a few friends who live on Vashon and they go to Science and Math Institute, which is on the grounds of the Tacoma Zoo. So that does not involve a drive, but you take the boat and you walk to school, but often that South End boat just doesn't run. So one of the fathers of those kids takes the students across the water in his outboard motorboat to get them to school in the morning, and that's often in the elements, in the dark. So, kids have to get to school. And we knew when we signed up to send our daughter to school off island that it was not going to be easy. We knew there'd be hassles, but it's become sort of impossible for her to do on her own without the support of a parent helping her logistics. And then the one other thing I'll say, just in terms of being a mother of a teenager, is that there was a trend over the summer of the last boat just isn't going to run. So, the big story was about this Taylor Swift concert, which, every teenage girl in the city of Seattle was at or wanted to be at. They came home, they came to the ferry dock, and then found out that the last boat wasn't running. So my daughter and her friend went to a grandmother's house on Alki where they had the code to get into, tiptoe into her apartment, and managed to spend the night there. But the dock was full of teenage kids who couldn't get home that night. So as a parent, do you think you're going to sleep one wink that night when your daughter is sitting on the dock waiting for the first boat in the morning? No way. So, we're not asking for miracles here. We're just asking for, the system, the marine superhighway that's supposed to exist for us to work the way it's supposed to work.